What's up, everybody, and welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com, or, of course, if you are watching on our fast-growing YouTube channel. AJ, we are this close to 14,000. I mean, I can almost touch it. We're like 20 subscribers away from hitting that 14,000 mark. I just checked this morning. So, guys, if you haven't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. I'm Jacob Turner, THI publisher Andrew Jones joining me as he always does. And, AJ, we're here to talk a little Carolina football. I think we just mutually decided off camera to call this one, the UNC football spring game primer podcast, which is a mouthful in itself. So,
and portal opening, because the portal opening
as well, which we're going to be hitting.
I got to push that a little bit.
Yeah, that'll be a big topic.
I'm hijacking right now.
Hey, man.
Okay, so the pod I did with David about Jalen Withers committing, I actually said we're at 14,000 because I'm thinking, okay, by the time this runs, we'll be right at 14,000. So I don't know if you heard that, but I gave
That's
you
why I checked.
Shout out.
That's why I checked again.
Okay, because I started the Jacob Turner push for 15,000 in that one, so I jumped ahead of myself a little bit.
You might have jinxed us. That's probably what happened. That's probably why we're like 20 away right now. I mean, it is funny you said that because I listened to the podcast and I went and checked this morning because I was like, I didn't know we hit 14. Lo and behold, we're like 20 away. So might as well have hit it, but we're not.
Well, I also said Jalen Withers was 6'7" because we did another podcast, David and I did, that we haven't run yet, about a guy who's 6'7".
Yep.
For some reason that was stuck in my head. So he's 6'8".
Yeah,
so
6'8", 6'9" on a good day.
He's listed at 6'9". I think he's 6'8". I know this is a football pod, but anyways, that happens sometimes, especially when we're doing back-to-back pods like we're actually doing today too. So.
Oh yeah, it's been a busy off season already, to say the least, and I don't think that's going to be slowing down anytime soon. But AJ, what we're here to talk about, we're obviously hitting on the portal opening on Saturday a little bit later, but we're really here mainly to talk about Carolina's spring football game that's coming up on Saturday after noon, April 15th. Carolina starting the spring game, spring practice, whatever you want to call it, because like we'll talk about later, it's not just going to be a glorified scrimmage the whole time. At 3 p.m., FanFest starts at 1 p.m., so a lot of different things going on in Chapel Hill. I haven't checked the weather. I'm hoping it's going to be nice. You can go ahead and check if you want to, because it seems like anytime there's
this is live stuff right here.
It does seem like anytime there's anything football related on a Saturday in the spring, it rains. So I'm a little bit worried there's going to be a little bit of rain, but you can go ahead and double check that if you don't mind.
79 degrees, 40% chance of rain.
That sounds like anything Carolina tries to plan on a Saturday in the spring. It'll be sunny all week and it'll be cloudy and rainy on Saturday
because those who control the weather want me to get raging mad text messages from Kevin Roy about I'm not going to ruin my camera shooting this crap.
Yeah, 50-50 on whether or not Kevin's going to whip his camera out on Saturday right now, looking at that weather. Hopefully.
And complain to me like I created the Addams Family house, the clouds over the stadium because Kevin's going to be there.
Like you're controlling the weather. Yeah. Well, hopefully Kevin will bring his camera out on Saturday, but we're looking at the 40% chances. Probably a 40% chance he will bring that camera out on Saturday, but we'll figure that out a little bit later down the road. But a lot of different topics to hit on. If Kevin's watching this, he's definitely not talking to me on Saturday, is it?
He has to talk to me.
He does have to talk to you. Shout out, Kevin.
I got the wand of power, man, so I'm going to use it.
Yeah, it's all in good fun, Kevin. We love you, dude. Let's talk a little football. Obviously, that's why we're here. So looking ahead to Saturday, a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, a little bit of drills coming in, a little bit of a scrimmage. We expect it to be very similar to what we saw last year for those that were at the spring game last year. What can you kind of tell us about what Saturday is going to be? Because to me, it looks like a pretty action-packed day and seems like in an afternoon you can really, bring the family out and make a few hours out of.
Yeah, we don't know the specifics of what they're going to do from a football standpoint, but I know it will be worth going to. I'm an enormous fan of watching practice drills. I've always been that way. I think part of it, because I was a little kid, I used to go to camp for football, basketball, baseball, and I loved the drills, and I understood the importance of them. So it's always been a thing I've enjoyed. I remember covering Major League Baseball the one year I did it, going out and watching this guy named Jeff Rebele practice turning two. He's playing second base for the Orioles. He's a reserve second baseman. I watched him for 40 minutes before game one time, just work on turning a double play. And that was awesome. But I'm also a little bit of a geek in that kind of way. But a lot of people do like the drills and they like the spring game, but they always walk away saying, boy, I don't know what I learned from the spring game. And that's one of the reasons I think that they're going away from spring games, because I don't think the staff learns a lot. as well. In fact, I know for a fact that they sometimes don't get as much out of a spring game as they do out of a regular practice. And that's one of the reasons a lot of schools have shifted away from the full-on spring games. So I think it's probably best to call it the spring football event, because of what happens beforehand with the Fan Fest. And then you get a lot of drills, and you have a chance to go look at certain position groups and watch the guy you want to watch. If you want to go watch wide receivers and focus on Andre Green, you can do that. If you want to watch defensive backs and you just want to totally zero in on Elijah Huzzy, or let's say, Mac's been talking up, we've been hearing Tayon Holloway's name some lately, right? Mm-hmm. So he hadn't played a game, hadn't seen him out there, and this is an opportunity for you to see guys like Tayon Holloway. We're hearing Bo Atkins's name a lot. You can just focus on him, since you know what Kamen Rucker looks like, since you know what Miles Murphy looks like, and Cedric Gray. You can watch Deuce Caldwell. You can watch some of these other guys and really focus in on them, the drills. And if you're a coach or you have someone that you're training in football, or you'd like to, you can learn from the drills. Take some of these drills and apply them to your child or your teams that you coach or anything like that. I think that's really cool stuff. But it's also an opportunity, I just think, to just enjoy football. Yeah. It's the last football get together until August. I do think there are a lot of reasons that people should feel pretty solid about the direction of things. I'm very much in the belief that Mac has made a lot of really good changes since they lost to Clemson, because the changes started happening before the Oregon game and then since the Oregon game. So, look, this is year 5 of a Hall of Fame coach who wants to be there and wants to get this thing back to where it was. And while he's heavily criticized because people have very quickly forgotten their very recent past, the truth is he got them to their first major bowl game for the first time in 71 years when they went to the Orange Bowl a couple of years ago. And they won 9 games this past season for only the second time since he left in 1997. And now he's got Clyde Christensen on the staff and Ted Monachino. He's got a former NFL head coach as his tight end coach, and Freddie Kitchens. This is a loaded staff. It's a lot of brain trust there. It's the epitome of brain trust. And there's a lot of interesting players, the portal guys. If you're a diehard Carolina fan, come out and watch Tez Walker. Come out and watch Nate McCullum and Elijah Huzzy and Amari Gaynor and Willie Lampkin. Come watch these guys. A couple of the dudes are not participating. Those guys are. But come watch them, because they're going to start. And they're going to be really important players this coming fall. So there's an awful lot to get out of this, regardless of what your taste is. And by the way, the concession stands will be open. Yeah. So if you're a big stadium food fan, like a lot of people are, come get some stadium food, grab a cold one, sit back and just watch the Tar Heels do their thing.
Yeah, I think you can get a lot out of it. I think you mentioned earlier, I think you get a lot more out of this format from a fan's perspective too than you get watching a spring game. Countless times I've talked to Carolina fans kind of jokingly about, guys you hear about in the spring and in the spring game who have fantastic games and you never hear their name again, because the spring game isn't necessarily an indication of what's going to happen throughout the year. But when you watch these individual drills, who's going first, when they're doing these mock 11v11 scrimmages, who's in the first team right now, who's first team defense, who's first team offense, pay attention to those things. Pay attention, like I said, to who's leading these drills individually. Pay attention to how these new coaches are coming in. How are they coaching? Is Tim Cross, a guy like him, how has his maybe approach changed from things you've seen in the past at that D-line, at that defensive lineman position? Little things like that, I think you get so much more out of, not only from a media perspective, and obviously that's great for us, but from a fan perspective too. I think you can take a lot more away from these drills and this type of format than you can from just going out and playing a scrimmage for an hour and a half, and you're going to have the 4-string guys versus the 4-string guys for 15 minutes. You don't get a lot out of it. So I think fans should definitely be excited about that and should take advantage of that. Because if you really want to see what's going on during the spring, besides just us talking about it in some of the video clips that we put out, you've got to see it with our own 2 eyes. There's a reason, AJ, that whoever it is, Brandon, Trey, there's a reason somebody from Tar Heel Illustrated is at every single media event, every single football game, every single basketball game. It's because you get the most out of it and you get maximum knowledge when you're there in person observing it. And I think it should be the same for fans in this situation. If you want to get excited about the football team, you really want to see where they stand and where they're at, come out and watch them in person. That's when you can really get the best out of the situation.
It's also going to be highly competitive because the staff on next Monday, they're going to put together their depth chart launching into the full off season. The full
Mm-hmm.
off season is between spring and then the start of fall camp in August. So that's the depth chart. And that's what it'll be on the first day of fall camp in early August. And there's a lot of competition there. Now, some guys haven't been available this spring, like J.J. Jones at receiver. I'm pretty confident he'll be among the 6 that they want in that rotation at receiver. They've got 4 that are there right now that are absolute locks for it. Tez Walker and Nate McCollum are 2. Kobe Pacer and Gavin Blackwell, holdovers from last year, are 3 and 4. I suspect J.J. Jones will be 5. And I think Andre Green ultimately will be the 6th guy. Watch that group. Think of when you're watching him, think, okay, is Andre Green, is he the guy, or is Doc Chapman chasing him? Or how about Paul Billups and Christian Hamilton, the 2 freshmen who enrolled early, who have gotten a lot of praise so far? Might one of them jump into that spot? How about Kedrick Beanley-Jones? He was a big time name when he committed with Carolina and ultimately signed, but he's had so many injuries. Max said the other day, look, it's time for him to play. It's time for him to do his thing. He's been there long enough. It's time to perform. How about Travis Shaw? He's, I think right now, at least 30 pounds lighter than he was the last time anybody saw him. Yeah. And you can tell. And Gene Chizik said last week, he's got really good short area quickness, which he didn't have a year ago. Mm-hmm. He's got more of that now. Come watch him. And then, of course, the running back room, that's wide open. And it's wide open in part because Bruce Brooks, he's doing thud now, but he can't do full contact. Caleb Hood's out, can't do full contact. DJ Jones moved to safety. Watch him at safety, by the way. I'm actually going to plan on doing some of that myself. And then you've got George Pettaway, who sprained an ankle 2 weeks ago, kind of iffy. And right now they're 2 entrenched guys, Elijah Green and Omarion Hampton, but they're entrenched just right now because they're healthy and they're out there every day, taking every rep.
Yeah.
What's it going to be like in August, or who from that room will still be around in August? Because the portal opens Saturday. And I think it's interesting that the portal opens the day of their last day of the spring. And then the staff makes depth chart determinations on Monday, and they have exit interviews with the players after spring practice. You could see some guys leave the program. Max said on Tuesday when we talked to him that he doesn't have the vibe that anyone's leaving, but
who knows?
You never know. You never know. These things shift so often now that it's likely a couple of kids will. And there's certain, I'm not going to throw any names out there right now, but I've heard of a couple of names of kids that maybe now's the time if they want to play. Like it's all about how much some that haven't played much, that have been around a couple of years, how much they want to play, how much they just want to be a part of this. Those are decisions some of those kids are going to have to make. Maybe you can go Saturday and watch these different drills and in your mind say, okay, here are 4 or 5 guys I just have a feeling are going to leave. And one way you could tell where they are in the depth chart on Saturday is the order of the drills, the order of the players in each drill. That's usually an indication of where they are in the pecking order. So there's some things for you guys to watch out for and kind of have some fun with it. Who might leave? Who would be your 6th guy in the wide receiver rotation? Who would you start at corner opposite Elijah Huzzy? Some people might say Armani Chapman, the transfer from Virginia Tech, but he's barely been able to do anything this spring. So who might you see out there? What do you think of Jaquarius Conley? He's not even wearing a wrap anymore. He's full go, but he's still got a lot of stuff to make up that he missed in the last year and a half. So, and then Connor Harrell, one backup quarterback.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Connor. He's kind of emerged. Yeah.
It's easy to look at Dre, but watch Connor. What are your thoughts about him? Where do you think he is 15 months after arriving? There are so many fun things to watch. And when they're doing the drills, that's what I love so much about it. You know how much I love covering football practice because I just get to go zero in on a group. And I learned so much about them. Tyler Thompson, the true freshman early enrollee, is one of the jacks, and he's gotten some praise, but he's 205 pounds. So they're not going to put him on the field, I doubt, this year because he's 205 pounds. So I'm taking a mental snapshot of when I saw him doing a drill, standing 20 feet away of him doing a drill now, and in a year from now, when he's going to be 235 or 240, and a totally different dude out there, still doing those drills and doing them even better. And then you look at him and say, yeah, you know what? He's ready to get on the field. That's another thing I like about spring, especially with the new kids, is they change just from spring to fall. And they have such an advantage over the guys that arrive in the summer as opposed to the ones that enroll early because they're in that full off-season conditioning program. They're the nutrition, everything else, they're fully under that tent, and their bodies change. Everything about them changes. The reps that they get in 15 practices really makes them college football players by the time fall camp starts. So again, I'm a junkie. I'm a little bit weird like that, but I would think a lot of people who are listening to a football podcast in April are probably close to being junkies too, and they can get the same value and entertainment value, football value and entertainment value out of watching practice and the scrimmage, and they will scrimmage like guys like you and I get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I enjoy it too. I think it's invaluable too as well to be able to get out there during practices and see these guys in these drills that they do every single day, or at least every single practice. You can kind of see them develop and see, like you said, who's emerging at these positions, who's running with the ones here, who's running with the twos here, and then base it off, if you follow our reports and the things we report in these podcasts, what we're being told by Mac, and you can kind of form your own opinions about how things are shaping up. So again, I think it's invaluable, and I think, middle of April, hopefully the rain holds off. Weather, I'm sure it'll be warm. If it can, sun can pop out a little bit, it'll be a beautiful day to watch some football. And Chapel Hill's a really nice place this time of year as well. So again, make a day out of it. Enjoy it, and there'll be plenty of stuff to do around Chapel Hill as well. So AJ, I'll just ask you real quickly. I know we hit on the portal. We're going to wrap up here in a second, but I know Mac mentioned he doesn't really expect any. We're not getting the vibe right now that people are going to leave. I think it's pretty safe to say somebody's going to enter the portal.
I think he knows that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's shying away from that fact. It's 2023,
and it might be encouraged.
Yeah,
and for anybody winces and says, "Oh man, really? We're in a different time now."
Are we ever? Yeah,
we're in a different time, and I don't think coaches have the reservations about. I wouldn't say just pushing a kid out, but encouraging a kid that maybe somewhere else, if you want to play, and you need to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I think it's fair. I think honesty is fair because you're letting them know.
Yeah.
And I believe that this staff is pretty upfront with these kids. So you might see, and I'm not going to throw any names out there. I know people want names. I'm not going to do that. That's not fair to put those names out there. It's never fair to do something like that without knowing for sure, and even then let the kid do it on his own, right? Mm-hmm. But I know of a few names of kids that are probably likely, and I do think that they would be surprised if these kids come back. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what they want. There's nothing wrong with being a reserve football player for 4 or 5 years in North Carolina, getting a degree and running out of that tunnel and being on the travel squad and playing some football, and then having your body intact when you graduate and move on and do something with your life. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Most guys are going to have to do that eventually anyway. There's also nothing wrong with wanting to leave and maybe go down to a lower level and get 70 snaps a game. There's nothing wrong with that either, especially if you've had it for a couple of years, a taste of the big time program, and you decide, you know what, man, Elon's pretty inviting. Mm-hmm. Central's inviting, or even not too much of a drop at something like East Carolina, which some of the Carolina players have transferred to. So I think there'll be activity. There's no doubt about it. And I do think that there are a couple of kids that I know that there's some interest about them hitting the portal and maybe being interested in North Carolina. So look, the portal will be open, but there's a lot of communication that goes on, and there's a lot of tampering that goes on. I know for a fact that a Carolina player that left in the portal in basketball was being tampered with by an ACC school. Okay, I know that for a fact. I know that a Carolina football player a year ago was being tampered with by an SEC school. I know that for a fact, okay? Promises either with cash or starting positions are made. All that stuff happens. So a lot of dudes are going to hit the portal around the country on Saturday, already know where they're going.
Yeah.
And that might even be the case with North Carolina. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But I know that there are some kids that have probably reached out to UNC through back channels. And so that kid pops up on the portal, let's say Saturday evening at 9:00, you put in a call, you put in a text or whatever it is, and you begin that process. So it's not just that they'll lose a few guys, but I think there's a chance they may bring in a guy or two.
I would think so.
Because now they know, they have some weaknesses. They have a question mark at backup linebacker. And Sebastian Cheeks hasn't been fully healthy. So they think they know what they have in him, but he missed so many full contact reps this spring that had he had those, they would know, you know what, that's a guy that could step in for Cedric or Power if something happens. They don't know that yet. So maybe they go get it. If there's a kid available, the right kid that wouldn't mind backing up, maybe they get an inside linebacker. Maybe they go get someone that can be a rush end on defense. Maybe they go get another offensive lineman. Maybe suddenly they lose a couple of running backs and they got to move DJ Jones back to running back, and maybe they go get another one. Mm-hmm. I know they have one coming in, Jordan Louis, a high school kid, but who knows what's going to happen. So I do think that they might be a little reactionary with whatever they do in the portal if they pick up anybody. And I know that they have a couple of spots if they want to use them. Mm-hmm. So the first 4 or 5 days for North Carolina after the portal opens Saturday are going to be really, really interesting.
Yeah, definitely going to be massive. Definitely be interesting to follow for sure. And AJ, I think that's a good place to wrap this podcast up. Before we do that, though, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, The Rogue Shop. Check them out, rogueshop.com. Been supporting us and sponsoring our podcast and our content on our website for years now. We long may that continue. For those who don't know, specialize in top shelf family grown hemp products. So what does that mean? CBD, Delta 8, Delta 9. There's even more deltas out there I'm not going to name. Tinctures, oils, gummies, candies, flowers, creams. However you want to consume it, however you want to use it, they've got it for you. And everything they put out is top shelf and, like you said, family grown. So you know where you're getting. None of that fake stuff in there. None of those nasty chemicals and everything like that some of these big manufacturers like to put in these products. Not getting that here at Rogue Shop. Really, really high quality stuff. And I know a few people on our staff, including myself, AJ, heck, my fiance uses some of the products. My dad uses some of their products. I've got family members that even use it too. So, it's really good stuff. Even down to the packaging is fantastic. And if you've ordered from them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Check them out too. You can use the promo code TarHeels10 to save on your next order. Definitely use that. If you can save some money, why would you not? Link is in the description below to head on over there. Again, use that promo code TarHeels10 to save. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Another episode talking a little Carolina football on this one. If you guys enjoy it, go ahead and hit that like button below. Make sure you share it as well. Hit that subscribe button too. I said it earlier. I'm going to continue to say it till we hit it. Let's get to 14,000. There's probably, even if 500 of you watch this video, it'll only take about 20 of you hitting the subscribe for us to get there. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do it right now. Come on,
more
guys.
than 500 are going to watch. Yeah. But you know what? Let's start. I'm going to start shooting for 15,000.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm jumping over you, man. Let's go 15.
I'd like to get
21 in this video.
Yeah.
So we can be at 14,001 and begin our push toward 15,000.
I'd like to get 15 by the end of the offseason. Start of football. It's going to be really hard to do, but we're going to be putting out a lot of off-season content on here as well. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
My goal is 16. My goal is 16.
16 would be fantastic.
All right. So who do you think is going to be right, Jacob or me?
Yeah. Let us know, guys. Let us know if you think
give us a number.
Realistic. Yeah.
If anybody's still listening, give us a number of what you think our YouTube subscriber number will be when fall camp opens in August.
Mention us on Twitter.
Whoever's closest to being right will get 6 free month subscription to THI.
I like that, man. Just get us on Twitter.
We're going to push this in the next couple of videos. So there'll be a lot of people. That. So what I'll do is I'll keep a little
spreadsheet
log with spreadsheet with everybody's information on there. So the morning when I get up, the morning of the first day of fall camp, and I go click on the analytics on the channel, whatever the number is, whoever's closest will get 6 free months of THI.
That's a heck of a deal.
And guys, just so you know, so much of what we put on the boards, we don't talk about here because we have to maintain exclusivity over there, and people pay good money to be a part of our network. So they get a lot of that stuff as well. And you can too. And if you don't win, you can just pay $8.33 a month and you could be a Tar Heel insider too. Or give a prediction, get the number right. And for 6 months, you could be an insider for free. Yeah.
Doesn't get any better than that, AJ. And heck, that'd be a great time to do so with football starting. If you get that 6-month subscription around that time, cover a little bit of basketball as well in there. You're going to be really getting a lot of good stuff.
You get August, September, October, November, December, January. So I'd take you right up through January.
That's prime time. That's the thick of it. That's the overlap, as I like to call it. It doesn't get any busier than that. So, guys, come on over and guess. Link below to our Twitter account. Just mention it to us at Heel Illustrated. What you're gonna, what number you think we're gonna hit, and like I said, we'll keep track of it and give you 6 free months. Whoever's closest when that time comes. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Appreciate y'all watching. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks.